No, I don't think that you can get the full engineering degree in 18 months.
So before we leave, I did want to ask you about one particular clip. It was a little bit because it just kind of it felt kind of rubbed me the wrong way, I guess. So it was a review on you talked about Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
So he made a comment
Yeah.
that you can get an engineering degree in 18 months.
Yeah.
And I guess the clip that I watched, you didn't really talk about it a whole lot. So I want your honest opinion. If you go back, and you obviously you have the hindsight, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Charlie Kirk has an engineering degree.
No,
He may.
I don't think he even has a college degree.
Okay, yeah. So I think he has a little bit of a bad perspective.
College degree, but I don't know. But yeah, so you watched the clip. That means you didn't watch the whole episode. I gave my opinion. So this is the gotcha question. Yeah, this is the gotcha question. Okay, my opinion is no. I don't think that you can get the full engineering degree in 18 months. I think that you can get an engineering technician degree. I think you can get a very pointed, a very pointed engineering adjacent education, and you can do a lot of really good things with that. But I think the whole purpose of engineering school is to teach you how to think, teach you how to solve problems. Engineering school is not about just learning things and memorizing things. Engineering school is about learning how to giving yourself the tools to be an engineer. The one thing that really frustrated me about Charlie's statement was that he said, well, I mean, how many of those things do you actually use, that you learn? And I'm going to tell you right now, engineering school versus your job, 90% of the stuff you learn in engineering school, you're not going to use. But that's the point. That is the point. It gives you that foundation to then be an engineer. And there's a reason why ABET accreditation exists. There's a reason why we have professional engineering licensure and all these things in place, because what you can do as an engineer is really damn important. All right. People's lives are at stake. And there's entire teams of people that have a lot more education and knowledge about the engineering profession as a whole. They set up the ABET standards. They set up the accreditation. They set up the licensure requirements. I'm going to go with those people over Charlie. Now, would I agree that colleges have taken the fact that the government has subsidized student loans and ran with that and gotten more expensive, making a lot more amenities in school and trying to do a lot of other things to help people be more holistic people? I'd say yeah. And is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I'm not going to speak on a college and trying to make people better people from all aspects. I think that's a good aspirational goal. Now, when I say that college has gotten way out of reach and how expensive it is, yeah, and I feel bad for people that are trying to navigate that and make that investment. But I'm not going to say that an engineering degree can be done at 18.
I don't think so.
Yeah. What's your thought?
Oh, I don't think so. And I mean, so kind of going back to what you said, right? So there are maybe 90% of what you learn you won't use actually in the field, right? But again, like we said, so you come out of school with an engineering degree, you open so many avenues, right? You open so many doors, right? And so I know, for instance, there used to be at LSU, they offered a very, very specific kind of engineering. It was called petrochemical engineering or petroleum engineering, right? Well, that kind of pinpointed you to, okay, if I get this degree, essentially all I can work for is an oil and gas company, right? Or at a refinery or something like that. Well, what happened whenever, gas prices went, and then suddenly that industry, now you have a degree that's very niche and very catered towards that, industry, and now you can't get jobs. I feel like that would be the only way that you could, potentially get out of this like kind of 4-year expansive degree and kind of shorten it up to maybe 3 years or 2 years or something like that. It would have to be very, very specific, but that's kind of the downside.
Yeah, you're right. Versatility is kind of one of the inbuilt positives of the engineering degree. And I'll tell you this, like I took a class called engineering economics or contained engineering economics, and people are like, what? That's not engineering design. That's not important. And some of the people in my engineering economics class, they thought it was stupid. They hated it. I'll tell you this. It was the the last year of my career, it has been the most valuable class to my doing amortization, interest rates. We've been negotiating, trying to understand our rates and negotiating rate increases, understanding how the labor market's going to move. And that has been the focus of my job for the last year. So it turned out to be really important. So,
and there's so many things, I feel like. I mean, I know it happens a lot in construction, right? Yeah. So I have a mechanical engineering background. Yeah. So primarily if, it's, some sort of pipe, fluid flow, some sort of heat analysis, something like that. That's kind of my background knowledge.
Nice.
But a lot of times I do things that involve concrete, right? So I kind of need to understand concrete a little bit, or electrical, right? So if we're putting in a pump or a motor or something like that, okay, well, I need to understand, a little bit of the electrical aspect of it. And is this feasible? Is this possible? What sort of, kind of control aspects, instrumentation and controls can you work with? So there's so many things that, like, yes, you don't use it in every day, but there's so many times where it would be beneficial just to have that knowledge and just create a well-rounded engineer and a well-rounded person. So
I agree wholeheartedly. It's funny. I spent a lot of time 2 years ago dealing with cement mixes. I'm a mechanical engineer too, so you never know.
Yeah. So, but well, I guess I need to go back, watch that whole episode, get your whole take on it.
Yeah. Wow. We heard it here first. Luke Callahan.
I've been busy. Okay, I work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. I didn't have the time, but I will make sure now that I have a little bit of time to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you those questions because I didn't get to see your whole response, but now I'll get to go back and watch it and see that we agree.
Yeah. So everybody go watch episode 60. I think it's 60 of the podcast.
I think so. Yeah.
60, and it's in the title of the episodes. You'll find. Had to use Charlie Kirk's name as clickbait. He's much more famous than I am.
Yes.
Yeah, big following. So I figured, put his name in the thumbnail and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And I just thought it was an outrageous take on his part. But.
Yeah, I think engineering was definitely the wrong example for him to try to use to make that point. I think everybody can agree that college has gotten just outrageously expensive. And I am all for people that advocate to make college more affordable and accessible. And I appreciate the intention there. I do appreciate that. And I think that's something that everybody across every side of every aisle will agree that we want to advocate for making college more affordable and accessible for everybody. Shorten the engineering program is not the way I'm going to do it.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Well, thanks, Luke.
Thank you, Daniel. You've been a great host, I guess. And also a great interviewee.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, had a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for having me on. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and we'll cut to some kind of outro where I talk to you. Say bye, but see you the next one. I'm miscommunicating. I just made a pilot, then they threw me on the stations. Nah, I'm not complaining. My thoughts get complicated. I cannot explain in lameness. Never losing focus because I ain't chasing payments. Still playing in the basement while I'm working on arrangements. They heard the kid in 50 countries. Thank God that's amazing. But I'd rather thank Spotify. They put me on the station.